Ahí voy. Hello, dear friends. I hope you're there. I hope you're there. Okay, we are having a little bit of a computer issues because I have on Anna's. I'm using Anna's computer because I wasn't able to log in the other account. So let's see if Anna can join us so she can answer all the questions. I don't know where I need to go to say hello. Yes. Hello, dear friends. Okay, so I don't know who is there. I have no idea. I think it's, but let's see. Hi, Mary. How are you? I had to cut my hair real short because of, that I fell and the cut was from here all the way to back here. So they had to cut my hair because of they had to sew it. So I hope it. Okay, my hair looks different. So it is what it is. That's life. The good thing is that I'm doing well. I am doing really well, and Nana is too. And she's over there with trying to set up the account. Hi, Tooth Fairy. How are you doing? So I don't know what happened, and I will try to fix my computer. So let's talk about hats. Now, either if you're doing a crochet or a knitted hat, there are certain measurements that you have to take into account. First, if you have a thick yarn, use the needles that the yarn calls for. If you have a medium size yarn also, and if you have a thin yarn also, but of course, make your swatch, please make your swatch, because the yarn usually will tell you how many stitches to expect, for 4 inches or 10 centimeters, which is what most of us use, but in the United States it's 4 inches. So count how many stitches for 4 inches, and then you have to have two measurements on your head. So use the needles that the yarn calls for, unless it's a very lacy stitch, like lace, not a lacy. But then there are two measurements. One that has to go around your head, above your ears, and into the biggest part of your forehead. So that is going around your head, above your ears, and into your forehead. So now you have it there, and it is 21 inches. I have a small head, so 21 inches. Always take off maybe a couple of inches for the beginning, because you don't want your hat to be all wobbly. You want it nice and snuggle around your head. So you do that measurement here and take 1 or 2 inches from it. So if your head measures 22 inches, which is the majority of normal people, I don't know what normal is, but still. So that means make your hat, make your swatch, and take a couple of inches off. And of course, the ribbing part, you want to use like maybe one size smaller needles than the rest of the hat. So like that, it's it's especially if you use like 2x2 ribbing. So 2x2 ribbing is not as stretchable, or 2x1. That means two knits, one purl. That is not as stretchable as if you do 1 to 1, one knit, one purl. So make your ribbing to fit more or less 20 inches. So once you have that, you have to think about the height. How long is your hat going to be? So you take your beautiful tape measure and measure from the top of your ear around your head. No, I'm sorry. From the bottom of your ear, like there, and around your head and to the bottom of your other ear. So there it is, and mine is 16. Let's see if it's true. It seems like very little. Yeah, 16. 16 inches. So half of 16 inches is 8 inches. So half of 16 is 8. And that's how long your hat should be from the crown to the bottom of your ear. Okay? Okay. So two measurements around and then from the bottom of the ear to the bottom of the other ear. So those two measurements are very important. So now you want to make your swatch, and it really doesn't matter how, we'll talk about stitches that you can use in a hat. I like to use, even if it's a lace stitch, I like to use a lace that has pearls, because pearls will make your stitches go together and make them a little bit flexible. Unless you want a very big slouchy hat, unless that's the case, then it would be a good idea to have pearl stitches in between the repetitions. So let's say that this is part of a lace stitch, this is part of the other one, and then you have pearl stitches in between, or the pearl stitches are within the repetitions, but that allows your hat to go a little bit snuggler. How do you say it? A little bit tighter. Snuggly. Okay. Thank you. So, are you able to get in? Yeah.
Okay, what are you talking about?
You're here.
Oh, yes. But I have been here.
Okay. Hi. Hi, Anna.
Hello.
Okay. So, even if you have a pattern, and let's say that your pattern is 16 rows, and so that's a lot. That's a lot. So make sure that you start we'll talk about that for another time because it's a lot to talk. Salud.
Thank you.
So measurements are done. So once you have your swatch, measure your swatch, the closest number to it. Let's say for your repetitions, you need to have 120, and go to the closest number. This is really not an established math test. You have to go closest to the number. If it's 13 stitches, well, and the repetition says multiple of 12, we'll take one off. That kind of thing. So for the ribbing, so let me tell you something that's important. Once you have your measurements, and this is a very strange way to show it, but once you have your measurements, this would be your ribbing, and it's usually 20% the length of your total hat. So if your hat is 8 inches, those, cuatro, seis, so make it like 2 inches at least. No, but what happens is that this is 20%. But what if you want the ribbing to fold on itself to make it a little bit thicker around your ears? You want it warmer around your ears and thicker around your head like a headband. So I like to have hats that fold. So if you want a hat that folds, you have to double this amount plus a little more for the doubling, for the thickness of when you fold it. So let me show you.
We used to have a few projects that were folded edges.
For example, there's this hat. So this hat is all ribbing. And this hat is, let's see, 1, 2, 3. This is a 3x3 ribbing hat. So once you wear it, because it's more than 8 inches, this hat is made to fold it on itself.
Or you can call it slouchy because you can also wear a slouchy.
You can wear it by itself without folding it, and it becomes a slouchy hat. But if you want it not slouchy, but you want it thicker around your ears, then you fold it like so, and the stitch still follows. See? So this is a really nice, easy project for starters. Very, very easy. So you have 20% of the ribbing plus that same amount plus the amount that is needed to fold it, which is about an inch and a half for the folding right there. So remember that 20% plus the same amount plus about an inch or an inch and a half for folding. So once you have that, so let's take this and get rid of it because we already talked about it. And then this from here until you start taking off for the crown, this part here is 50%, 50, 50. So you have the 20%, you have the 50%, and this is more or less, because if you want this to be only 20%, but you want the slouchy hat, so this 50% has to be bigger, has to be like maybe if the 50% is seven let's say 6 inches, well, make it as big as you want it. So, and then you have about 30%, about 30% for the crown, which is the takeoff part. So let me show you the takeoff part. Let me stretch this a little. I don't know if you can see it. but see, you start taking off, and that's also a sign. It's really very simple. For example, what I did here is that every time I did one yes and one no of the, I think I did it 8 times. So I think around it was about 8 times. It can be six, it can be eight. It depends on how big you want it. But for example, if it's a thin yarn, you have to not do it every round. You do it every 2 rounds because you have to have the 30%. So it depends on the thickness of the yarn, is the amount of times that you go around in order to finish with between 6 and 12 stitches right in the middle so that you can gather it and it looks like a nice finished thing. So that's the theory. That's the basic theory. You have the 20%, you have the 50%, and you have the 30% for the top. That's like if you want a hat that just fits over your head and that's it. If you want a slouchy hat, then make the 50% bigger and make it like fall around your head like so. Another way of making hats. Remember the how you call it? The accordion, or what is it
This
called?
is a swirly hat.
The swirly hat. Now this is a magnificent
Cone
hat.
head.
Cone head. But see, this is very pretty hat. My friend Georgina. I asked her what she wanted for her birthday, and she said, because I gave her a black hat once for Christmas, and for her birthday, she wanted a beige, no, a gray hat. Okay, so now she has two hats, the same, because this fits around your head very nicely. It's very flexible. You can fold it like this, and look how pretty that looks.
So, hold on. The previous one, the ribbing, that one, is that the classic beanie hat that we made like 11 years ago?
No,
No.
no, the basic hat has is only straight stitch.
And it's not the creases, right? It's just like one piece and then you sew it together.
No, well, I don't think I have anything like that. I'll show you one that's only one piece in a minute. In a minute. So the basic hat is when you have your ribbing one by one, which is one knit, one purl, and then straight stitch. And once you have the 30%, you take off every like knit two together, knit two together, knit two, knit two together. And that's the basic. And the basic hat that we have is knitted flat, not in the round, and you sew it later. So that is the basic hat, and it's like for beginners, like real beginners. Now you can knit it in the round if you have the double pointed needles and you know how to use them. Or if you have a long needle and you know how to use the the long needle and just pull the string, the thing. Anyway, so this is very easy. The easiest is the
This one, the garter,
the garter.
this
Now this is another one. This is another thing. Now this is like a do nothing. This is a do nothing. This, you see, there's You knit this way. So you knit this way. See it? This is the a garter stitch hat. So you knit, 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 knit. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Once you have the length that you need to go around your head, see this is the height, and I made it pretty long. And this is the width, but this is the crown, but I knitted it this way. So once I sewed this part here on the wrong side so that once you fold it, you don't see. Are you laughing?
Mary got on my, put me on the spot because I wasn't getting.
What did Mary say?
I was telling to Fairy that she should, because she made this really hat and she just needed to sew it, but it's been like that for 2 years. And I'm like, you should finish it. And Mary's like, yeah, you don't wanna leave it like that, like Anna's sweater.
Okay. There you go. So this is a very, very easy hat. What I did is that I sewed, I gathered, I didn't do anything at the top. Nothing. I did nothing. I just gathered all the stitches and with a double or triple strands of yarn so that it's nice and strong. And I gathered all the stitches there and I did nothing at the top. I just gathered all the stitches. And I sewed the side. See it? The sewing is right there. So let's see if you can see that. If I stretch it a little. Well, it's right, no, it's right in there. Let's see, on the other side, let me show you on the other side.
It's
See?
hard to tell where the sewing is.
Yes, so on the wrong side, it looks like this. But on the right side, it looks like nothing. But I did this part here. I put my needle on the other side and sewed it from here to here. So like that I could fold the hat
And it wouldn't show.
and it wouldn't show because like that you have nicely sewn. You don't know where the sewing was. And this is the easiest hat to make. Really, really like just knit, 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 and then measure around your head so it's nice and snuggle, and that's it. Sew it. So anyway, I talked about three different hats and the measurements. We do need to talk about the types of yarn, the thickness of the yarn, because every thickness gives you a different amount of stitches. And we need to talk about if you have a pattern that needs to be repeated and how many repetitions do you need to get the 50% before you start taking off. And then, of course, when you take off for the crown, you need to follow the pattern, but that's where the magic of having purl stitches comes into play, because every time you have a repetition, if you have purl stitches, you purl them together. And then the next repetition and you purl them together. And next repetition and you purl them together. So that would be one round. And then maybe another round you don't do anything but whatever the stitch shows. And then on the next round, if you have that repetition, take off the first or the last two of the repetition and knit them together. And so it is really not that difficult to figure out. But we need to make something like that so I can show you what I'm talking about. So we talked about hats a lot. Okay, I have to let you go because I already talked a lot.
Well, let's talk about crochet hats next time.
Crochet hats is the same thing. So, for example, I'm making a headband here. See? I'm making a headband. This can be the base of any crochet hat. See, of course, it doesn't have to be that thick. It can be that thick, or if you want to fold it, you can fold this and then start your project. You pick up the stitches from one side and blunk, you go up, blunk, and and then you have a crochet pattern. But the basic ribbing of a crochet hat is a single crochet throughout. And I have 16 stitches here, so take into you, maybe you want only 10, or it depends if you want it folded. So anyway, but this is the basic thing for crochet hats. You need to have the band, and it's a single crochet knitted through the back of the loop. And we have a tutorial around there that is how to crochet through the back of the loop. Let me show
We
you.
have it on the shorts, like one of the
Yeah.
latest videos.
But the only thing with that is that, see, I have my stitch there, and I pick up the back of the loop and single
We
crochet.
already have it.
Yeah, I know we already have it, but if they don't feel like looking for it, I'm showing. So that's and then the crochet, you can use whatever stitch. A crochet is even easier for making hats because you don't, the pattern repeats more often than when with the knitting. Okay, yeah, blank. Ta-da!
No, blanc, because that's what you said.
Blanc? Blanc?
You folded the scoop of the hat.
Mary, you know me. You know how I talk. We have talked a lot, you and I. So you know what I say. Anyway, thank you very much for being with us. I am feeling much better. I really appreciate all the people that sent best wishes and that sent me hugs and kisses and all that kind of thing. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your kindness, and thank you very much for being with us. And I will see you next Wednesday at noon. Thank you. Thank you. Let me see how to get rid of.
On the bottom it says
There you go.